Had a really good time this weekend, and I think a lot of it is just there's so many new first timers, and just the excitement that reigns. And one thing that I told one of our all stars, it doesn't matter how you get here, whether you get voted in by the fans, you get voted in by the coaches, you get voted in through injury. Once you're an all-star, you're an all-star. And I think when you come out here and you look at this game today and just how it was played, and the one thing I always tell them is, look, when we come out here, we play hard, both sides. We need to make sure that our product and what we put on the court is something that people, no matter if they've watched us before or have never watched us, that they're excited to come back and excited to see the WNBA and the players that played today.
Doug on the right.
Hey, Catch, Doug Feinberg, DAP. It's weird asking this question because you're still playing next year, but being the veteran of this league, one of them, seeing so much young talent out there, I mean, Brittany and Lena and Maya and then Skylar Williams have been playing here. Just talk about how this league, I think, is in pretty good hands in the future, what's out there talent-wise.
Yeah, I mean, I think you see it. You see it every game that's been played in the All-Star Game, and even the ones that haven't had an opportunity to be here. But I'm excited, just for the future. And this game, everybody talked about kind of passing on that torch. And from the beginning for us, it was Dawn, Lisa, and Cheryl that passed the torch on to us. Well, before that, the in-between group was Katie and Tina Thompson, and then it came to us, and at the end of our group is Cappy, and then you go into, the Candace Parkers, then you go into the Elena Deladon, the Maya, the Skylers, and, that group. But I think that we've progressed. We've come a long way from the beginning, and not to say that, obviously the beginning was a big deal for us. That 96 Olympic team rolling into the beginning of the WNBA was huge, but as we progress and we look at the future, today is an example of how good the WNBA will continue to be. And these players are aspiring. There's a lot of players, a lot of girls that were here today that aspire to have an opportunity to play in the WNBA. And this is the reason why. To have an opportunity to play in the W, to have an opportunity to be an all-star, to have an opportunity one day to represent your country.
Howard, front left.
Hi, Tamika. Nice to see you. Two parts to this. One, more focused on the day. We talked a little bit about defense going in. It seemed like your defense really sparked things when you came in midway through the third. Was that in your mind as something that you were looking to do when you got back in the game at that point? And then just bigger picture, I'm wondering if there was a moment that you'll take away from this, a moment that really like signified this moment for you being the final All-Star game you'll be playing.
The moment, I'll start with the first part. The moment that signified, that had the most significance this weekend is just really when we had our players meeting. And I mean, being in there at one point, Renee asked all the first timers to stand up. And literally, I felt like we were a minority. So everybody standing up, I'm like, oh my God, it's been here that long. But that was huge because it says a lot. And like I said, through the injuries or whatever, the players that get voted onto the All-Star team, you're an All-Star. Nobody can ever take that away from you. And so that was like a big moment for me, just realizing that I'm sharing, this is my last time, but I'm sharing it with so many first-timers. And they sang happy birthday to me too for my birthday, so that was kind of cool. And then the defense part, really just wanted to come out, and I think that's what I am. I'm a spark player, and I kind of fit in where I get in, whatever my team needs at that point in time, I do. So I looked at the scoreboard before I went in, I was like, okay, before I sit down, we'll at least be tied. And we were tied. Then she took me out, but but it was cool. I think that it's a great opportunity. Like I said, there's so many first timers, and to be able to let everybody have an experience out there, and not just sitting on the bench just so that we can win a game. It's bigger than that.
Front row left. I'm sorry.
Jim
Front row left, Jim.
Alex Bentley was just up here. She was an Indiana kid. She grew up watching you, and she talked about being in your last game, and she kind of emotional. Do you sense out there that to the other players that this is a big deal, that they're here for you on your last All-Star game?
Yeah. It's cool. Like Alex, she was an intern with us a few years back before she got drafted into the W, and she'd grown. I just remember when she was interning and I was in the cold tub, and she came in and she was like, Catch, I just hope one day I make the WNBA. I hope I'm good enough. And you know, I said, look, you just got to keep working hard. I mean, you're with Coach Elise at Penn State, and I know she'll have you ready, and she'll keep working, and she'll push you to be better. You just have to be able to take it. And so here she is 3 years later as an All-Star. Not only as an All-Star, I don't even know what she ended up scoring today. What, 20 points, something like that? No?
23.
23 points, her first All-Star. And she's an awesome player, you know. But for all of them, you could tell, like every single moment they could hug me or touch me, you know, it's just kind of surreal, that surreal moment, like this is it. But I'm like, look, I'm not leaving yet. I'll be back next year. Just won't be an All-Star again. But, you know, this is an opportunity for me to be able to play with players that I may not get an opportunity to play with, and for them to play with me.
Front row, Mel.
Yeah, Mel Greenberg.
Hey, Mel.
Tamika, going to the other end of the spectrum, you mentioned the '96 team, which got a trailblazer and an award for the Women's Basketball Hall of Fame today. There was no W yet. People surmise. Can you just remember when you're watching them play what you thought the future would be?
Wow. Well, I didn't know at that point what my future would be, but I remember watching the '96 Olympic team. That was the first time I really watched women play basketball, and I just remember like, oh my gosh, this would be what an amazing opportunity if I could ever play and represent my country. And that was besides the WNBA, and then the WNBA comes around, and you guys know my story. I wanted to be in the NBA. Like from 7th grade on, I was going to be in the NBA, and I was determined that I was going to play with the guys, and nobody could tell me no. And then when the W came, my goals switched, and I wanted to be in the WNBA. And so, looking at it from the beginning, everybody talked about these players, and you saw Dawn, and you saw Cheryl, and you saw Rebecca Lobo. You know, you saw them everywhere. And I just remember saying, like, I want to be like that one day. I want to be where they are. I want to be remembered like they'll be remembered. And so now you fast forward, and I will be. You know, like the legacy that they left for me, and whoa, man, just the opportunity that they gave for all of us to be able to have this, to be able to play. And a lot of people doubted the WNBA and just how long it would last. And we'll be celebrating 20 years next year, and that's a heck of a thing to say. I'm just blessed to have been a part of it.
Back row, middle, Lee.
Lee Michelson, full court. Tamika, I think one of the things that you've always been most noted for is sticking with the play and continue to work until the ball's either in the hoop or it's over. And we saw that in evidence a couple of times today in a game where the coach told us there wasn't any defense going on. But the rest of both teams were halfway down the court, and he was still working on that offensive rebound and scrambling after it. Can you remember the point in your career when you decided that that was going to be one of your traits, one of your earmarks?
That point came to me in 2002 when I tried out for the USA team. What I didn't know when I was trying out, and Van told me after the fact, I tore my ACL 2001, or actually 2001, had a, no, 2000. So I spent the whole year out, right? Came back, and Van asked, and I found out this after the fact, Van asked, what's she doing here? She's coming off an ACL. She has no chance of making this team. And I guess right when he said that, he heard somebody screeching across the floor, and he looked and he thought it was me. And then somebody said, that's why she's here. But making that Olympic team in 2002, the World Championship team, Cheryl was there, Dawn was there, Lisa was there, Katie was there. I mean, you had all the stars that were there on that team. I didn't need to shoot. What did I need to do? If I wanted to make that team, I had to rebound and I had to defend. I didn't care about scoring. As long as I rebounded and I defended, I would make that team. And that's what I focused on. And so like literally that carried over from the USA team to the WNBA. Like, how can I make an impact? If you look out here, we have all kinds of scorers. We have scorers everywhere, and that's what people choose to, focus on sometimes. But you also need those players that are willing to do whatever it takes to help their team win. And that's what I want to be too.
Tamika to the back.
Saeed
welcome sports qualified from your past. How you doing? Happy birthday.
Thank you.
Catch, it seems to be in the blood. You have a history in the family playing ball. You just said a minute ago, this is my last press conference. I can't believe that. What are your plans for basketball after?
Well, my plans afterwards, I want to be a general manager. That's what I've talked about for a while. And staying around the game, you know. So if it's not being a GM, I think that it would be fun. Kind of like when I was a kid, I used to love putting together puzzles. And I love what they look like at the end, but I just love having pieces. And I kind of look at it, I know it's different, but putting together your team. Putting together a team of players that not are just great players, but everybody fit together. And you're able to pull together a team to make a championship caliber team. And that intrigues me. But I'll do that, and then of course my Catch the Stars Foundation, just continuing to build that. And I want to grow it outside of Indiana. I want to go across the globe. So not just here in America, but I want to go overseas too.
Two more questions. Mark, front right.
Tamika, Mark from the Norwich Bulletin. Just a quick question, bringing you back to the All-Star Game. 2 years ago, you were quoted as saying it should move around a little bit more. Are you happy with the game here at the Mohegan Sun Arena, or should it possibly move around to different arenas as we move through?
Well, I mean, I think that it's always good for the game when you move around. You know, but here, when you look at the stand and you just look at the support that we're able to get here, it's definitely a great place. But last year, you know, with it being where were we, San Antonio, Phoenix, but even the Phoenix game, the San Antonio game, the New York game that I was in way back when, all the DC, I mean, all the venues that we've been to have always been great. And even like I remember when it was in Phoenix when I was an intern with the Mercury way back when, the turnout has always been good. So I think that it's good for our game that we continue to try out other venues, but you know, Connecticut never failed. We always have a good time here, and you know, definitely a good place to host a game.
David in the middle.
Amy, I think this is an appropriate last question too. There's very few people in the sporting world that are universally loved. Derek Jeter comes to mind. You come to mind. You never hear a person say anything negative about Tamika Catchings, both the athlete and the person. Where does that drive to be that type of person, never have a bad day, come from?
God first, but my parents. I've lived through a lot, you know, with them, and just we've gone through a lot as a family, and even with my hearing problem and just dealing with that, like that was tough on our family and tough on me too. But I always remember as a little girl, like I had to work so much harder than everybody else, but I didn't mind it because I knew one day that it would pay off. And so now, like when I look at my life and I look at just where I've been and the opportunities that I've had, every single day, like when I walk into that locker room, I'm blessed. I'm blessed to be able to walk. I'm blessed to be able to have a locker room to go to. You know, I'm blessed to have such great teammates. I'm blessed all the way around. And then with my foundation, just being able to make an impact, like I'm blessed to be able to do that. And so I think what I always do is just, I don't look at the negative. You know how people say, is your glass half full or half empty? Like I never look at the negative side of things because my mom never let me. When I wanted to quit and when I wanted to give up, when I didn't want to go to school, she didn't let me quit. Basketball got hard, I sucked. Sometimes I was like, oh my God, I'm terrible, I'm just terrible, I want to quit. They never let me quit. And so like I always knew that I had to work. But now like I love people. And I love meeting people, and I love, you know, doing different things and going on different adventures. So every time I come into a room, I never have somebody I haven't ever met. Like, it might be the first time I meet you, but it's like, hey, how are you doing? Like, great, it's so great to see you. Very rarely do I say it's nice to meet you, because I always feel like, I kind of feel like I've met everybody. You know, so it's like you never have somebody that you're not a friend with.
All right, I actually get the last question. Alex Bentley was an intern for the Fever. You were an intern for the Mercury. Who was a better intern?
Definitely me. I mean, come on. She was the video coordinator, but that's a little bit harder than what I had to do. Thank you, guys.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.